Hey, everybody, and welcome to Your Next. I'm your host, Jerome, and you're in for another solo episode. I'm starting to get the hang of these things, y'all. And it's really cool because as we do more and more of these thought leadership content piece creations, it's giving me more things that I want to talk about without having a guest in. And so today, we want to dive into the 5 scars of success. Now, you've never heard of it, but I'm telling you, this is literally a game changer. So, what we found is that apex performers, the founders who have exited, our NEOs, tend to have 5 experiences over the course of their life that have led them to the success that they've had. This has also led to the challenges or frustrations they've had related to exiting their business. The first one is conditional love. This is achievement as a prerequisite for acceptance. Now, you might be thinking, man, what does that mean? My parents love me unconditionally. It sounds good until you only got positive affirmations when you did something that they were proud of. Now, you might think, oh, that's not that big of a deal. That's normal. People should do things in order to receive love. We'll come back to it in a little bit, but I would disagree with you. The second one is suicidal ideation. That's transforming despair into drive. And so think about many people who struggle with the pressure to perform, or if they have a failure, how they struggle with recovering from that. Sometimes it gets really dark. It dives into this suicidal ideation. The third one is total financial ruin. Many founders have anxiety of economic insecurity. Maybe they struggle to recover after a divorce. Some other people have struggled to rebuild once their business took a dip when they lost their biggest customer. Other people didn't know what they were going to do when they needed to make payroll. Whatever the situation is or was, the fact of the matter is that financial ruin is something that most founders who exit their businesses have experienced. The next one, number 4, near death experience. Many of us feel like we're living on borrowed time. Now, if you've survived a life threatening event, you have this perception that you got a second chance or that your time is running out. For many people, this near death experience is something that changes their life forever. And our founders are people who typically experience that. The fifth one and final one is the early loss of a loved one. And this is something that usually drives them for a desire to have a lasting legacy. Now, what we've learned is that business typically that they build the first go around isn't that lasting legacy. It's something that they build once they're in the work optional period of their life. But this is so important for the founders because they are building, they're living with a purpose. Now, when we dove in and identified these 5 characteristics, we're like, man, what if somebody had one of them? Does that make the unraveling, does that make the intensity of the founder's exit paradox more intense? And what we found was it does. Each time you add another one of these 5 scars of success. And so the more scarred you are, the more attached you are because you are taking what most people would consider to be trauma and using it as fuel to create success on a level that most people will never experience. When you think about the anomaly of being able to exit, you got to understand that 2 out of 10 businesses that get listed successfully sell. And of those 2 that successfully sell, only 25% of the founders are actually happy that they were able to reach that milestone. So the 25% of the 20% is the likelihood that you can actually achieve what we call exiting to excellence. Our goal in identifying these 5 characteristics is one, to have a conversation with you about what these experiences meant for you. And then we want to use that to reframe the exit so that you are excited about what's happening when you exit versus feeling like you are losing all of the things that you built on top of the 5 scars of success. Again, These things are typically seen as trauma for most, but they're fuel for the apex performers. And so our goal is to help our founders redefine what these scars actually mean. And if you think about it, you're not able to see any of these. You can't see the near death experience. You can't see the conditional love. You can't see the suicidal ideation or the early loss of a loved one. You can't see any of those. And you certainly can't see the financial ruin. So these scars are in our mind. These scars are in our mind. And to get them healed so that when we touch them, they don't hurt, you have to actually spend some time working through these. Some people say, oh, well, you need to go to a psychologist or a therapist or a counselor. And for some people, maybe they do. But in general, most of the founders that we've come in contact with, they might have these traumas, but they don't have a diagnosis. They don't have a condition. The ideation is probably the one that is most troubling for folks. And if it's not persistent and it's not consistent and it's not something that happens regularly, most people would say that it's an experience that people come through or go through when they're having a tough time. And the ability to kind of move through that tough time, know that you can overcome it instead of feeling hopeless or helpless and be on the other side of it allows you to be able to overcome or conquer this without the help of somebody that's a licensed professional. When I went for my physical a couple of weeks ago, they let me know. They asked me the question. It's like, hey, are you feeling blue or depressed anytime? They asked if I had any thoughts of harming myself. And, on the backside of that question is more questions to follow so they can determine what to do with it. And, these things are things that we don't typically ask in our regular friendships or relationships. We spend our time talking about the things that make us happy. And so, as we're moving through the year, if you know a founder and you know things are tough right now, if you know the economy has shifted a little bit, you know that a lot of people don't have the same resources that they had, and more people are losing resources on a daily basis. Do me a favor and check on them. Just ask them if they're okay. Ask them if there's anything going on that they like to talk about, anything they're struggling with, or if they need to be connected with a resource. You'll never know how far that goes. So again, I just want to do a quick episode. This bolts you to the 5 scars of success: conditional love, suicidal ideation, financial ruin, near death experiences, and early loss of a loved one. I've experienced all 5. I've experienced all 5 of these. And so if you need someone to chat with, if you need to explore these because you're not sure how they're impacting you and your exit, I'm here to talk. Until the next time, your dreams should be real. We'll catch you on the next episode.